Hey, it's Paul from howtoplaybass.com. In today's lesson, we're going to learn how to play The Joker by Steve Miller. Now, there are two sections to this tune. There's the verse and the chorus. What I've done is created a number of patterns, 4 for the verse, 2 for the chorus. Suggest you learn all those patterns, and then when you're playing through, if you were playing this live, you can just mix and match the patterns. There's a couple of patterns in the verse which go in specific locations, which I'll talk about in the appropriate sections. But what this will enable you to do is to play the song authentically, but also sound like you're kind of semi-improvisatory because you're mixing and matching these patterns in almost random fashion in many ways. And plus, of course, you can also create your own variations of these patterns very simply. Listening to the original is a good study to see how it's done. So it's fairly simple bass line. Tempo's is quite modest, it's about 85, and you do have this 16th note kind of pattern. That kind of 16th note pattern in the verse, and then it's a little bit more flowing in the chorus, as you'll see when we get to those sections. So that's how I advise you to learn it. Obviously, if you want to learn it totally authentically, then go to the original and work out all the patterns each time it's played. But using these patterns, you'd be able to get you through The Joker, playing along with the record, playing along with the band. You'll sound authentic, and very, very few people will realise you're not playing the exact bass line that was played on the recording. So by all means, correlate what I'm going to teach with the recording, but you'll be able to get through. Now, before we start off with the very basic verse pattern, if you're not a subscriber to my free monthly easy, click the link underneath the video, go over to my website and find the subscribe page, free bass lessons it says. Go and subscribe by entering your email address. In return for giving me your email address, you'll get a sequence of song tutorials in video and PDF format over the next couple of weeks. Plus, there's a monthly tutorial, again video and PDF format, that comes out. All this stuff is free, just cost your email address, and it's exclusive to people who subscribe. So go and do that, then we'll head over to the video, or to the lesson rather, and we'll start with the first verse pattern that we're going to look at. So you just heard the first pattern we're going to look at being played with the Band in a Box sketch track. Very straightforward 2-bar pattern. And what we're notes-wise, I'll just go through the notes what we're going to use, and then I don't need to call the fret locations out all the time. We've got F, first fret of the E string, B flat at the first fret of the A string, of course, C at the third fret of the A string. Then we've got G and A, open A. G's the third fret of the E string, open A is the open A string, of course. And those are the notes we're using. So in terms of the pattern, we're playing 2 Fs, 2 B flats, 2 Cs, and then we're playing G, open A, 4 B flats, 2 open A's, G. So and that's the basic pattern, and the basis, once you've got that pattern down, it's very easy to make very simple adjustments to create some variations, but keeping, that's kind of the main skeleton of the pattern, the notes on the downbeat and that kind of pattern is the kind of skeleton of the pattern you want to build around with variations. Let's go on and look at variation number 2. Okay, variation number 2, very simple variation on variation number 1. We've got in the second bar is identical, and in the first bar we've got some extra notes. So we're going to play. So we're playing 2 Fs, and we're playing G, open A, 2 B flats, then we're playing open A, B flat, and then we're to the second bar, we're playing C, C, G, open A, 4 B flats, 2 A's, G. So very simple pattern. So that's variation number 2. Let's go on and look at variation number 3, which is identical, except instead of the last G, we're going to play the C dominant approach note to F on the last 8th note of the 2-bar pattern. You just heard variation 3 with the band in a box track. As I said at the end of variation 2, the main change is the C, the last 8th note of the 2-bar pattern. So we're playing 2 Fs. I'll play the pattern, sorry. So that's the pattern. So we're playing 2 Fs, G, open A, 2 B flats, A, B flat, 2 C's, then we're playing G, open A, 4 B flats, 2 open A's, C, and that C is a 5th above F. It's called the dominant approach to F. It's a common way to approach prominent chord tones. Okay, let's move on, look at variation 4. Okay, you just heard variation 4 played 4 times, but this variation is the kind of variation that I'd use at the end of a section when you're moving from the verse to the chorus. It kind of marks that change, and it finishes on the open E string, which leads chromatically to F at the start of the next chorus, leads the ear quite nicely to that. So we go through, I'll play it through, and then we'll talk through the notes that are used. Okay, so what we've got is we've got 2 Fs, G, open A, 2 B flats, open A, B flat, 2 C's, G, open A, 3 B flats, open A held, and then E, open E, G, and E. So you get this pattern. I'll play it really slowly. One thing to watch out for, when you're going from the open A to the open E, you've got to mute the open A, otherwise the two strings will ring together and will cause some dissonance in your bass line. So you've got to go, and then when you play the open E at the same time, you've got to mute the A string with your left hand. Or if you mute with other fingers, if you've got some kind of muting system going on with your right hand, you've got to mute that A string with one of your hands. I use the left hand. Some people do have a complicated right hand muting system in play. If you're one of those people, you can use that to mute that A string so you can get that. Okay, that leads us to the chorus. We're going to use 2 patterns for the chorus, so let's go and look at the first of those patterns. You just heard the first of the chorus patterns with the band in a box sketch tracks. Now with the verse pattern, we've got a kind of F, B flat, C, B flat, just a 1 4 5 4 progression happening. With the chorus, slightly different. We've got F, B flat, F, B flat, F, B flat, then we've got C, and often a C sus is involved there as well, and then down to B flat. So very similar chords, but a very slightly different structure. Also the bass line in this section is slightly more fluid and less bound by the rigidity of the, where you've got those beats marked all the time. But notice in this section and in the next variation that I'll show you that those beats are still marked, just because there's more going on around them. They don't seem quite so prominent, and it's not so much of a kind of a skeleton that the ear's waiting to hear. So that being said, let's look through what we've got. So the first bar that I played in this version of the chorus, so we've got 2 Fs, G, open A, 2 B flats, then we've got the octave of F, the 3rd fret of the D string, the open E string, and then we're into bar 2. And bar 2 I'm playing, so we've got 2 Fs, then we've got C, the 3rd fret of the A string, hammered on to D, octave F, 3rd fret of the D string, open A, 2 B flats, octave F, 3rd fret of the D string again, open A, C, 3rd fret of the A string, E. Okay, third bar we're playing, so we're playing 2 Fs, then we're playing octave F, hammer to G, back to F, 3rd and 5th frets of the D string, down to B flat, followed by that phrase which is C, hammer to D, 3rd and 5th frets of the A string, octave F at 3rd fret of the D string, and then the open A string, and then the last bar we're going to play, which is 4 Cs, 2 B flats, and then F hammered on to G, 3rd and 5th frets of the D string again. So that's the complete pattern. Let's go and look at the second pattern that we're going to use for the chorus. Okay, you just heard the second pattern played along with the band in a box sketch track for the chorus. Again, we'll go through it bar by bar. First bar, that's what we're going to play. So we've got 2 Fs, then we've got 2 of the low Fs, then we've got F and C, 3rd frets of the D and A string, 2 B flats at the 1st fret of the A string, then we've got F, open D, C, open E. Nice pattern that. Leads us back to the 2 Fs at the downbeat of bar 2. So bar 2, we've got 2 Fs, then we've got C, hammered on to D, to F, 3rd fret of the D string, open A string, 2 B flats, then C, you could hammer on to D again, or you could play it to F, and then the open D string. Leads us to the third bar, where the 2 Fs on the downbeat have been transposed up an octave, so we're playing them at the 3rd fret. That's what we're going to play. 2 Fs, then we're going to play C, D, F, A, 2 B flats, C, D, F, A again. So, and that takes us to the last bar, where we're going to play, which is 4 Cs, 2 B flats, and then we've got the 16th note flurry, which is B, natural at the 2nd fret of the A string, open A string, C, and then open E, leads us to the F F again. So that pattern played in its entirety. Sounds something like that, and of course you've got the play along with the band in a box backing track. So you can learn those parts, isolate them, learn them each individually, and then use them in various sections. You can chop and change, mix and match them, so it sounds like your bass line's a bit more semi-improvisatory than it is. And what's important about that is all of that stuff is pretty much lifted direct from the original, so it will all sound authentic and enable you to play the Joker in a live context without disconcerting anyone in the audience or anyone on the bandstand with you, which is two of the most important things you can do. So hope you've enjoyed that tutorial, and I'll catch you next week with the next tutorial.